Okay, so we are live now. Right. Okay, so hello everyone and welcome to the seventh session of Tinkerpreneur 2023. On behalf of the whole Atal Innovation Mission team, I would like to welcome you all to this session. So today we are going to have an exciting session of how to create a sales pitch for your product. So this session would be taken by Mr. Ayush Keshri, who is the CEO of Human Library Cafe. So Ayush, would you like to introduce yourself and take it?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for introducing me and giving an opportunity to the session today. And I would like to thank each one of you who have joined the session today. So we're going to speak more about today on how topic says, right, how we can create an impactful pitch of us, sales piece basically. So I'm a storyteller. I believe in the power of storytelling, and we believe that once we use stories into our pitch or sales, it have a larger impact on the customers and things. So we'll learn today how storytelling can help us to have a better impact on a presentation, especially when it comes to sales, it comes to marketing and advertising. So before I start my introductions, my session today, I'd like to give my brief story about myself, a small story. I come from a Bihar in a very small city. When I born in a family, I born in a family where my father had no jobs and my mother used to do house help work into that area. I remember when I was very young, when I was 4 year old, I've seen mother struggling to have arrange food for us. I've seen that many nights we have slept without food. We haven't had food to eat many a times. I remember still a night when I we were waiting for our mother to cook food, but she did not have something to cook. We had that day only one glass of water each of our family member and slept without having food that day. Today is a day when we don't have certain problems. But when I look back, I see where I come from. So I'll be taking a part of storytelling. Like, did I share my story? Hopefully you might be feeling some way connected and emotional as well, right? So let me share my presentation to you and let's we learn today how we can make it impactful.
Yeah. And just one thing. So, as this is the last session of Tinkerpreneur, so I would request all the students and mentors to observe this session very carefully. So, it's a very crucial session because you'll have an assignment to submit at the end of your Tinkerpreneur that you need to submit your whole pitch deck. So, this will be very crucial. So, I would request everyone to pay a lot of attention. And
So
yeah,
as I was saying, the stories add value to everything. So once you were not knowing me, right, my background and my introductions about me, listen. So you only was knowing that I'm a CEO of Himlet Cafe. But once you have heard my story, you can understand me understand as a very different person as well. So let me start with the presentation. When you see, when it comes to sales and when it comes to marketing, it's very important to understand the customers of us, whom we're going to deal with, to understand whom we're going to sell our products or services or technology which we are building into it. It's very important to understand the audience. So once we understand that audience, who are the audience of us, whom we want to deliver our product or services, then we create a marketing strategy. So when we create a marketing, the marketing definition says that identifying the needs of the customers and fulfilling the need of the customers. So once you realize who are the customers of ours, we also realize what their mindset and thought process are, where they stay, where they live, and how we can propagate them. Then it comes to pitching an idea of us, comes to how we can sell our product to the people whom we are targeting. So I believe stories are something which helps you to sell your product. Today I'm selling myself. When I shared my story, I somehow tried to sell myself to you by convincing you to see my background, the humble background which I came from. Now, let me take you to the next slide and I'll ask you questions to you, right? So when you see
Ayush,
this
the
slide,
folder is being shared. Sorry to interrupt, Ayush. The folder is being shared. If you can share it once again, the presentation got created.
pardon, pardon. Is it fine?
No, still only the folder is being shared. So you need
You
to
want me to
stop
share it
sharing and
again?
share it once again. Yeah.
Okay. Can you see my screen now?
I can see a screen, but the folder name storytelling is appearing instead of the presentation.
Not the presentation?
No, not yet.
Okay, wait, let me do it again. Can you see now?
Now it's visible.
It's there, right?
Yeah, it's visible now.
Yeah, cool. So stories add value to everything. As I was saying, right? When I was sharing my story, I was trying to sell myself to you. So I wanted to know me, who am I, where I come from, what is my background, and I use story to share my brief introduction in that way. So if you see this picture, right, what did you see? Middle-aged men is preparing a tea. So if I ask you, what he is trying to sell is only a tea which is available every corner or the nook of the road. Or tea is very common in India, right? We have different people as well who've been selling tea as well. But if I add a story to this picture, you'll realize the value of it. So listen, like it's 9 a.m. in the morning when I wake up, and when I left my home for the office, I was standing in my traffic light and realized there's a huge crowd standing in front of tea stalls. I was amazed to see why these people are standing around the tea stall. That amazed me and asked me to wait for a minute and have a look to that tea stall. When I went near to the tea stall, I realized middle-aged woman who is selling a tea has a very extra taste in that tea stalls. The people who are standing in a queue to get a one glass of tea is because the taste of it. So I wanted to try the taste of it, and I tried, and I realized the taste is different. When I asked this man how the tea is different from the other tea, he told me he add love and care while he prepared a tea. See, once you see this person, we can only understand that this guy is only selling a tea. But when I share a story, it add value to this whole understanding. When you see view it, when you see understand concept that way, you learn in different sense, right? So why we should tell stories? That's very important. Before I go ahead, I want you to watch this video.
Uh, are you sorry? The presentation screen is getting big. The video is not visible.
You can't see the video.
No,
Pardon?
not yet. No, no, not yet.
You can't see the video.
No, the presentation is visible. If you can share the full screen, I think it will be
Okay, fine. Okay, let me go through the slides only then. So
okay. Fine.
storytelling helps to convey complex idea and information in a clear and effective way. Why I'm saying this? So if you see the advertisement which I was showing earlier, which you might have not seen, see any advertisement which we have on television or for electronic media, either ATL one, which helps you understand why women should get an equal value to at a home. How do we like go an advertisement to a Fevicol, which understand it, help us to understand it, how uh, basically a Fevicol is helping family and generation to carry the effective instrument to carry from one generation to another generation. Or we have another advertisement, like if you remember advertisement of Pepsi, Coca-Cola, they use different strategy to promote their idea. So nowadays people and brands use stories to to simplify and complex ideas in a very smaller words to tell people that what their services are and how they've been contributing in the development of the nation. So benefit of telling social media stories on social media. Why covering the social media aspects is now because I understand the social media is one of the tools which we are engaged into it. So when we see social media, the three important tools which help us to understand this whole customer stuff and also get the customers to understand our value. One, it increases the engagement because stories engage people. So when I share my story of to you, when I was sharing that I born in a very small, very poor family, where mother used to have house work into house help, and one day we do not have a food to eat. So that was I was throughout my story, I was trying to engage you into my story. So stories have that power to engage people. So what happens when you see advertisements? When we see advertisements, we want to skip that advertisements because we do not want to get to watch that advertisements because we do not have any interest in watching that advertisement. But stories help the audience to stay and engaged. So when you are sharing a story of anyone, even though it's an advertisement, people will stay and watch the whole advertisement because it has a story. So if you and your product or a services have some story to share to people, though it's an advertisement, though it may be marketing strategy of yours, if it's a good story, people will going to listen to you. When you use storytelling, it also encourages participation. So when you engage your audience through storytelling, people also share. I give an example, 3 years back, HP launched one advertisements where HP was promoting handmade diyas. So what they launched a campaign while promoting the product only. The intention was to product HP printers, but they used one storyline that was a woman who is from a village, is sitting in a corner of a city and trying to sell handmade diyas. When she was sitting in the corner of the city in the road, she is not able to sell handmade diyas to anyone. This one small guy approaches her and found her upset. This young guy realized that he can help her to sell her diyas. So he went to his home, ge- created some graphics of content promoting his handmade diyas and make her Diwali better, and put it that graphics, the pictures, took the printout from HP printer and put those graphics, the printout, to different corners of the city. At the end, what happened? People saw that advertisements, that one page pays a graphics, and they realized they can contribute to that woman to celebrate her Diwali with her family by buying beers from her. And due to these advertisements, people went to her, started buying beers. When the evening, when he reached the guy who put it the posters, he went there and then asked for theirs. He said, I do not have anyone left with me. Then he shared one poster to her. And then this woman realized that this guy has helped her to sell her theirs to people. To see thanks and she has a smile on her face. Throughout this whole advertisement, HP was trying to project how HP printer helped this woman to sell her diyas and how this guy used HP printer to have a good graphics and color combinations and better printout colors. But HP made you to share this video, and this video was shared by millions of people in India. Not because it was a advertisement, because people supported this campaign that let's this Diwali we're going to buy handmade diyas by local people and will help them to celebrate their Diwali with their family. So if you have certain storyline which helps people to connect and engage, so people also not only engage, they participate. And how they participate? They'll comment, they'll share, and they'll also going to buy your services and product. So once you have added a story, when people started participating into it, it also becomes authentic. How? For example, you may be a brand which you want to project your own brand or services, but me as a person who's sharing your brand, your product, or your idea. So people who trust me, the friend circle of mine, people who know me, they will gain going to buy the product because they trust me. So what we help through storytelling, we help people to get engaged into our under advertisements of ours. We had their participation while they comment and they share and they like a post. And when they shared and like and comment a post, it got authentic because people started building a trust on our services. And due to they built a trust, their connection, their people also had same experiences. And through this narrative and experiences, we reach to larger set of audience. That's how part of storytelling is makes different services and ideas and product which you want to sell to people to stick to it, listen to it, and engage in that way. That's how stories helps have better marketing, advertisements, content of us, so that people can at least engage into it, right? So, what is story basically? Like, why I'm saying this stories, because it's very important. If we develop a good story, we can have a better marketing strategy when it comes to advertising. When it comes, marketing is a very big domain areas. When it comes to advertising or selling a product or sales pitch, so we need to create a one story of ours which should be so much authentic, engaging, so that people can share and can like it. So how stories basic? What is story basically? Stories are basically a narratives which engage an audience and ask them to ask questions, or there's a curiosity among people throughout the storyline when they listen and they participate into it. The three elements which is very important when we create a stories. One are characters, second is plot, and then is settings. Characters, for example, when I was sharing my own story to you, then that way I was one character there, my mother was another character, and then we have a plot was the environment which I had around, the food, the meal. We seemed empty stomach, we had only one glass of water that day. And see how sequence of plot. I was 4 year old, I still remember a day and night. So this is way stories basically a form. The another advertisement which HP what I was sharing, well, I was sharing that how that small guy, young guy, helped a woman to sell theirs. So there's a woman who sells a there is one character. The guy who's young who wants to help the woman is another character, and the audience who wants to the customers who are coming and buying her product is the another set of characters. See the plot, how the plot have been designed. This woman is around to sit on a roadside. She's selling. She's upset. The guy came and then realized, and then he went to his home, got this graphics design, and then got the printout and then put it on the web, and then he again found all the other sold. So this is sequence is very important. So once you develop your own story, want to develop your own story, the three things which are very important. You need to identify the characters, who will be the characters in your story, and then how will you plot? What will be the sequence into it, and then how will you put like the atmosphere, the time, the place, that way. So when you see this image, what do you find? Being a storyteller, I see each images when I see any image or graphics, I see there's a story into it. So when
Uh, Ayush, I think only the first slide is visible. It's got freeze.
pardon,
The subsequent slides are not visible right now.
I didn't get you. Can you be louder
Yeah,
or not?
I'm telling that the first slide is still visible. The second and third slides which you are changing right now, it's not visible right
You
now.
can't see my current slide.
Yeah, right now it got changed. Earlier it was not getting changed.
Is it fine now?
Yeah, now it's fine. But earlier, like the slides were not visible when you were speaking.
Okay,
Right.
is it fine now? Can you see the
Yeah,
slide?
it's better. Yeah, it's better.
Okay, fine. So when you see these three guy around to agriculture farm, so when you see this picture, you may have a simple picture. When I see this picture, I see there's a story. A story I see in a like I can see into it. I can see there's a three. This let me share our story. For example, if I need to sell this is my consider this as an agriculture farm, which has in services to people, which offers farm people to visit his farmland and participate into activities and then engage them, stay for in a 6 hour or 8 hours in her farm or his farm, and then he makes money out of it. But he want to propagate this idea to people. So if I want to sell the story through this image, what story I can create out of it? So if I need to create a story out of it, one story which I can create it here, I can say that I remember 14 July 1950. I had my three children who wanted to visit villages. I've seen my children born in a city where they had an opportunity to visit villages and farms. So the day I asked my friend that I want to take my children to take a visit to a farmland to let them understand how crops are grown in the field. My friend has referred me to a farm which is nearby to my city. I went, took my children there. I cannot forget the day. When I say 14th July, when I was with my children there, I cannot forget the smile which they were carrying. When they're playing with the mud there, when they were sharing that bond with the nature, and the place and the atmosphere which have been found there, how they've been coming to feeling the nature, participating in activities, playing with muds, and smiling it. I've never found my children so happy while I was there when I took them to a farm too. So see, when I add this story to it, so what I'm adding to it, if you become a father of yours, so when because my children have felt very good, they were happy. You also may think of we can take the children to farmland. So if I want to promote this farm that is a nice here, I'm selling a story out it. Let's move to how story important part of stories which plays very important role. Can you just see this slide now? This one. Can you see the slide?
The slide number 8 is visible now.
The key aspect of storytelling, right?
No, the previous one. Yeah,
Okay.
now it's visible.
Is it now?
Yes, it's visible now.
The key aspects of storytelling, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. The three important key aspects of storytelling, which one is emotion, another is conflict and resolutions, and then third is authenticity and reliability. So it's very important when you create your own story of your product or a services which you want to offer to people, and you want to bring a story into it. Story must have an emotion. We Indian people, I, you, and anyone, are emotional people. See, we feel very authentic. If you see our Bollywood all films, we lot of Bollywood films have emotions, right? We cry, we had breakups, then we have a love story. We have people all around who fight, and then there's a winning advantage at the end, right? So emotions plays a very important role in a story. While I was sharing my own story, I was using the emotions of ours that what I have been suffered from. When I was sharing a story of a HP printer, a woman who was selling a diyas, that time a woman who had lot of hard work while preparing handmade diyas, see how she was upset. There's an emotion of bond between a woman and a child. There's a bond between care, the love and affections. And when I was sharing a third story where I took my three children to a farmland, where I took them to a farm and I've seen the emotions, right? See, as a father, I've seen my children smiling, happy. I've seen them how the nature was so close to them and they were so happy. So these are the emotions which I have used, and this how you feel connected to it. So it's you need to identify when you are creating your own story plot, what kind of emotion will you going to use to build your own story. For example, if I have this bottle in my hand and I want to sell to you people, so when I ask this bottle to you, you may not buy it because you see you have other bottles also and other companies also be selling the bottle. But if I add a value to it, the story to it, I can guarantee you'll buy this bottle. For example, this bottle had costed me 300 rupees. And if I asked you to buy this bottle of 3000 rupees, will you going to buy? I know many of you will answer no. Why? Because I have bought it for 300 rupees. You, why will you going to buy for 3000 rupees? You can also buy for 300 rupees through Amazon. Why will you going to buy for 3000 rupees? But when I add a story, you will buy for 3000. No, listen to the story when I add to this bottle. So this bottle I have been gifted by one of my close friend. That close friend's son has gifted me this bottle. I went to his home, and this small young person who was 4 years old. My friend's son found me very energetic, and he bought this bottle to me and gifted me this bottle and told me, "Uncle, please have it and keep it with yourself. I'm very happy to see you at my home." The day I received this bottle, I can see the positive energies have come to my home. The project which I was signing, I was not refused by several reason. After this bottle has entered in my life, I've seen the growth in my life. I've seen the how the project who were cancelled was not accepted, got finalized, and started getting appreciation for my work. This bottle proved luckier for me. I want to give this bottle to you so that your life could be more happier and you could be more energetic, could be more stronger nowadays. So now, can you tell me, will you going to buy for 3,000 rupees? And I want you to add value to it. I could have offered you for free, but I want to have respect for this bottle because I know the value of it. So if you want to buy for 3,000 rupees, you can raise your hand. So that's how if I say you can buy for 3,000, I see many of you will say yes to it because I added emotions to it. The emotion of my friend's son, the emotion of positivity, which actually helped this bottle to sell. Similarly, the conflict and resolutions are another part of storytelling, which we create out of when we create a story. The conflict is somewhere there's a crux. For example, if we were building a cement, no, I'm a cement, I have a cement manufacturing company and I'm the owner of the company. And I want to sell cement to all parts of India. Now, I know the competitors already have. So what I'll show, I'll use conflict here. What conflict I can use? I'll show few images of, a few videos of how Bhagalpur bridge in Bihar got broken within 10 days after constructions. How my one of my friend was got worst after rain has happened. And then I present my cement. See, the cement not only helps your walls to be stronger, but it can let you the wall to survive for 1,000 years. This is the sentiment test which we have done. And this is laboratory. So there's a conflict. Conflict was other cements are not so strong because you can see the bridge are going falling, bridging are falling. But after once rains happen, they can see the structure of the walls started getting worse, right? So the conflict help you to have a better advantage of your product. The third is very important when it comes to selling any product or service, that is authenticity and reliability. For example, these bottles, which I was selling it with 3,000 rupees, which I bought at 300 rupees, if I had not shared you my real story, that this is a positive energy, this is something which has already brought some positive aspects in my life, and that hasn't been true, and I've shared this to you and you bought it, and you realize this is nothing. Once bottle has entered into life, nothing has happened, nothing has changed. So I may sell this product once a time, but when it comes to larger value and things, I may not will not be able to sell it because the idea is not authentic. That's the content which I have, the product which I have manufactured is not that reliable. So it's very important when you create a product or services, and the story which you are building is that has to be authentic, so that once people buy, they should have a real experiences once they have shared got the understanding through a stories of yours. So, and that's very important when you understand the audience, identifying that what kind of audience you have, so that you can have a better understanding. For example, if I'm building a product for school children, so my audience will be school children. So I need to understand what kind of emotions school children goes through, so that I can build certain stories so that we can connect to young children. For example, if I am building a product for a middle-aged woman especially, I need to understand their psychology and things so that I can prepare a story which can have influence on those middle-aged women. So it's very important to identify the audience, to add real life experiences, the emotion which I'm sharing, and so that they can relate to your narratives or your stories. The three things are very important when you identify the customer audience of your the customers basically, to have the understand their emotions. what emotions they might be into very strong. If I want to sell a product to women, women are very emotional. They would be mother, they can be housewife, they could be a wife, they could be a daughter, they could be a sister. We can use this emotion for women. When we want to sell the product for school children have friends, they have playgrounds, they have certain vision, they have aim, they want to do something in their life. We can use that certain emotions and these pictures to present, if we have an audience, a perspective of small children. If we have men, people who are earning, so we can show how strong life could be, healthy fitness and all, which we could use, where these people can feel connected, relate to it, and they can engage into our storytelling content. So when you see, you can see the slides, right?
Yes, yes.
Enhancing stories with visuals, right?
Yeah. So earlier it is got sometimes it is getting some lag to change the slides, but now it's visible.
Is
If
it
you, if
fine, right?
possible, yeah, it's fine now. But if possible, if you can just reshare it once again, it would be much better. I think much more smoother.
I'll do after once I complete my
Sure.
presentation.
Yeah.
This is visible, right? So I'll say. So
Yeah.
when you created your story, when you had a script, visuals has a very important role to play. So when you see the visuals, right? See, uh, the two images which has use compelling visuals. So when you have an image, when you see a woman, the eyes of her in a very small glass, that's very something which asks you that eyes has something to share, right? So our focus is more into her eyes, and the visuals which holds her eyes is very impactful. Another image, if you see, right, a woman standing, and way she's standing, right, she has something to share. Another video, like for example, the bottle which you can see, right, the emphasis is on the bottle. So our whole attention will go to that bottle, what that bottle stands for, why somebody is highlighting that bottle, what is there in that bottle, right? And then another image is a woman which is having something in her hand. So whole interest will go on to, attention will go to her hand. Now see this slide, right? And when I ask you, when you see this image, can you create a story out of it? If I have to sell this handmade product to school children, what story and byline narratives we can build so this man can able to sell her his product, his handmade product, to you children. So we need to identify the emotions school children might be having, and then we can have this person emotions, we can mix up and we get a story. Try it at your home, store this image, and say that how we can create a story out of it. So when you see this image, it's very morning in some northeast part of India. Man is riding a boat. Can you create a story out of it? If I want to create a story, I would have created a different story, and I can would have used different emotions. I want you to create one story out of it. Use different emotions. No, this story, this image. So when we see an image, we can see there's a woman and there's a child looking at the from the window of a train. But if I want to show something out of this image, I can create a story and I can add value to this image. See how will I add the value in there? I'll say in Hindi, right? Because I can see I have spoken English as you can. This image somewhere it's rural parts of India. ख्वाहिशें सबकी होती है ना, मंजिल पाना चाहते हैं हम। जब हम छोटे होते हैं तो हमारी ज़रूरतें जो भी हों, लेकिन ख्वाहिशें बहुत बड़ी होती हैं। हम उस आसमान को देख करके उस आसमान तक पहुँचना चाहते हैं। जब मैं छोटा था ना, तो जब भी फ्लाइट हमारे घर से ऊपर से जाता था एरोप्लेन, तो हम उसको देख के बोलते थे कि हम उस पर कब बैठेंगे। जब मैं ये इमेज देख रहा हूँ ना छोटे बच्चे की, तो मुझे रियलाइज हो रहा है कि ये मुझसे कुछ कहना चाहता है। कह रहा है कि मैं आपको वो समोसा खाते हुए देख रहा हूँ ना, मेरा भी बहुत खाने का मन करता है। और मैं आपको प्रॉमिस कर रहा हूँ, जब मैं बड़ा होऊंगा ना, तो मैं समोसा खाऊंगा और दूसरों को भी खिलाऊंगा। And I believe my mother will help me out. So see, this when I was sharing this story, this image became very impactful, right? So this is how I end my presentation. I'll share my screen once again so that you can have a look into it.
Now it's fine, Ayush. Now it's
And
fine. Yeah.
I'll just share once so that we can have a look into it. So this slide was stories helps you to complex ideas to an information to clear and effective way. And I told about the three parts. It's very important that engagement, participations, and how the authenticity can help more connections to buyer services. What is story I have shared? It's a narrative which helps your audience to engage, and they also raise a lot of curiosities among your audience mindset. They should watch till end. I've shared the story of my children. I took them to farmland, and I've seen the happiness in their faces. I can still remember when look back, and I can see how the happy were they when I look these images. The key aspects of storytelling which I've shared. One is emotion is very important. We need to identify the right emotions while we create our stories into our sales speech. The conflict is very important. What kind of conflict we want to put, and I tell right, authenticity and reliability is very important. Well, people like for one, but not so when you create story, whatever that should be actually kind of story that I shared that right? When we use those things in order can be this is they want they have to use the emotion. The camera angle, which is very important. What we should need to highlight while we were preparing our presentation, while or making a graphics or video, what the, how we should emphasize more on our services, more on product, so that people should focus more on not on a company name or something. They should focus on more on the brand product which we want to sell, services which we want to sell. A focus while preparing a video or the graphics should be in that way. I've shared few images which you can see. I've shown this image to you and I've asked you to create a story out of it. This also, and I've shared this one story of a small guy who want to do something well in his life. He has some big dreams and he want to do have a better lifestyle. So before I end, I want to say one thing to you all people, that the story which I've shared in very starting of mine, that was not real actually. It was a fake story. I didn't born in a very small poor family. I'd never had to suffer for food. We never had to sleep for empty stomach in our home. Any night, I don't remember any night we had something not to eat. I come from a very good family, TikTok family. Like nothing to share. But when I will have shared the story, I just want to have an emotional bonding with you. Which I did, and which I was sharing this authentic value, right? So when I say the story was not real and it was not authentic, you may not trust me now. It's very important to build that trust and maintain it. I would like to thank you for being with me. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, you can ask me.
Thanks a lot, Ayush, for this exciting session. We hope it was very helpful for all the Tinkerpreneurs. So there's one question that has come up on the YouTube chat. So the question is that, like, whenever we are preparing any sales pitch or something, is there any format that we should follow or any typeset format that they need to follow? If yes, then if you can elaborate on it.
Format for creating a story or script.
Yeah, a script or even a sales pitch, let's say.
Okay, yes, there is a format, and we should apply that format. The format which I was sharing, right? So there are characters, there's a plot, and then we set, right? So when we have characters, we once we want to any like I was want to sell this bottles to you, so I have a character to myself. There's a three characters, right? Me, my friend, and his son. The three characters were there. Then we plotted one thing. Plotted was the environment. Like I went to his my friend's home. My friend's son came to me, and then he gifted me this bottle, and he said something to me. And then third sequence came when I have seen my life change after when I received this bottle. So this is plot basically. The first one, the second one, and third. First one, I went to their home. Second, the son came to me and gifted this bottle. And third was when I have seen the positivity in my life. Something plot. So one is the character. We need to identify the characters. What kind of characters we want to project we into our story, and the right emotion which I was also sharing while we are plotting the whole script, and then setting up what will come first, what will go next, and how it will end. That's how we create script and stories on that.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Ayush, for this elaborate answer. I think it would help the students a lot. So yeah, so thanks a lot for having this exciting sessions. So those were all the questions that we had for today, and I hope that this will help our students and entrepreneurs to prepare an awesome sales pitch with the proper elements of story, with the proper elements of drama that you have. Thanks a lot, Ayush, for guiding them. And so yeah, so now in the next part, so you'd have to just go ahead and prepare your own sales pitch and submit it as a part of your Tinkerpreneur submission. And yeah, all the best for them. Thanks a lot,
Thank you
Ayush.
so much. Thank you.